BIMTOOL, and 2 DMEs, or DDEs in this case. This could be an interesting video, guys. Welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and it's the first episode on the E91 Black Sapphire wagon. Pretty much my dream E9X, but there is a bit of a catch with this car. Now, as I said in the last video, hopefully you saw it when you got to the end, where I've sort of announced 0 to 60 2.0. This wagon is not owned by me yet, but the plan is that I'll get it one day. But in the meantime, I'm going to drive it. It's very good on fuel. You'll see why in a second. And I want to modify it on behalf of the current owner and hopefully buy it off them if I can down the track. Now, unfortunately, when I was driving it about 2 weeks ago, it cut out on the highway. This car has had a bit of a history of charging issues. Now, for some reason, it would just turn off with low voltage. It wouldn't show any errors on the dash. I did have a spark of hope when approximately 6 weeks ago, yes, I've been driving it for that long, it actually threw an alternator error. I pulled the alternator apart and the brushes had worn through on the alternator completely. I thought I'd finally found the problem. We got some rain. I didn't click at the time, but we got some rain, and then a couple of days later it did the same thing. Driving down the highway and the car just goes into error mode, low voltage. Doesn't actually show that, it's just all the systems start shutting down. Pull over, jump start it, and it would come good. Long story short, 2 weeks ago, driving on the highway, and it just cut off on the engine. Now, it still had enough power to try and start the car, but it would not restart. I ended up having to get it towed. This is the first time I'd ever been towed in an E9X, E8X, anything. It was a bit of a dull moment because it wasn't even with an N54. So let me show you guys the elephant in the room and the issue with this vehicle. So yes, it is a black sapphire wagon. It has done a few kilometers. It is on 350,000 Ks. It's got the oyster interior, not beige. It needs a clean, it does. It's been sitting in Jake's yard for about 2 weeks, I think. And this is the issue. That is not an N54. It is an N47 320d with the 6 HP automatic, which is fine for saving fuel. And to be honest, this is the first diesel I've ever sort of had. You can't see me. This is the first diesel I've sort of had in my possession or daily driven. And I've gone from chasing fastness and speed to fuel economy. It's been quite cool trying to hypermile it, and driving it from the sunny coast down to Brendale, I get like 4.5 litres per 100 Ks, which is madness for a car that's pretty luxury, and it's not that slow. It'll keep up with traffic and all that sort of stuff. However, they appear to have the same water in the DME boxes that the N54s have, and I've killed a DME. This is something that I should have known better. I should have checked this. I should have known that there may be a water issue, because although the car had charging issues, it was throwing BSD faults, and there were a few little random things and weird errors. I should have just looked for water in the DME. Anyway, this is the one that's come out of the car. Hopefully you can see that. This is the one that had the water in it. Oh, actually, I have pulled it apart, and hopefully you can see, I'm getting a bit of glare here. Hopefully you can see there, this is all munched up. I'll take a photo so you can see it, but yeah, it looks like the water lines come to about here, and that was enough to finally kill it the other day. Now I've got this second-hand one from a wrecker. Now if I plug this in fact I will plug it in shortly, you'll see that the car will not start, and that is because the ISNs are not matched between the CAS and the ECU. The ISN is also matched in the key, and these three devices all need to have that same security code. Now, I do have the VVDI BIMTOOL. I've done quite a few videos on it. It's a love-hate relationship, meaning it will do what it says on the box, but it's very hard to do it. The instructions are rubbish. I've done plenty of videos on it. If you all got interest in it, just type in VVDI into the channel search and you'll see all the videos. But we're going to see if we can do an ISN read from the diesel DME, which is a DDE. Now this is I think it's an EDC 71 or 17. I'm gonna have to double check that when we try and read it. But I've never tried to read an ISN from one of these ECUs, so hopefully we don't brick it, because I have bricked a few with this tool. And then we're gonna try and write that ISN to the CAS module. Now this is a late 2009 car. It's a good chance that it is an ISTA-P CAS, but I've never connected BIMTOOL. So let's get the car on a solid power supply, get BIMTOOL connected, and see what we can read. Actually, I'll fit the DME as well, or DDE. You'll see me when we're in the car, struggling on the laptop. I shouldn't say struggling. Hopefully it'll just work. We'll see. Okay, so we have the new DME in place, or the new second-hand DME. The car is on charge. That is running at 13.8 volts. Let's plug the computer in. Okay, The lighting's a bit bad, but we'll see how we go. It's always fun trying to film BIMTOOL. Let's get logged in. And I'm just going to turn the car on. We'll try and start it. And that's what happens. So it'll just keep firing. And that should be because the ISNs are wrong. So let's see what we can read with BIMTOOL. So CAS information. BIMTOOL is connected. And what we want to see here is if it does have a CAS 3 ISTA-P. It does. Okay, that makes it a little bit more difficult because I don't think we can write the CAD code to the DME. All right, well, let's just see what we can do. So we're going to go ECU CAS. And we'll see if it can read the DDE. It is a EDC 17, and we're going to read it through OBD. I think it's a 17. Let's see what comes up. DDE 71, update VIN, read ECU ISN. Oh, we're getting a battery warning. I'm just going to make sure we've got jump leads connected properly. Okay, so I've just got my little cigarette lighter adapter. That's showing the output, but it should now show us the voltage that the car is actually running at, 13.9. That matches the charger. Let's just read ECU information again. We are good. So I've got all that info there. Now let's see if it'll read the ECU ISN. I don't know how it did it so quickly. I thought it used to take ages. Okay. So we will copy that. We'll put it into a notepad file, 2 seconds. So we've got the ISN there. That's that massive security code. Now let's see if it'll let me change the CAS 3 ISTA-P OBD. So we'll read the CAS information. And I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try. Actually, if we can read the ECU ISN, that'll give me some idea. Okay, so it does need the software downgraded. So we can actually do that this way. So we go CAS key learn, connect. Oh, it was clicking. Actually, we want to get key info. That's what we want to do. Add key. I always forget how to use BIMTOOL. Must work on car. If you do this step on the bench, may cause ELV not to work. Continue. Yes. Okay, now this is the nervous part. I'm not going to film the whole thing, but this is where it flashes some custom or downgraded firmware to the CAS, and it failed straight away. Well, that's good. I'll be back when I work it out. Hey, I forgot to take the key out. I was rushing. Anyway, the key is now out. Let's see if it works. Now, this does take about 10 minutes from ones I've done in the past. We are now wiping my CAS module. So this may be good, it may be bad. Wish me luck. Every time I do something with BIMTOOL for the first time, it's painful, so we'll see how painful this is. I'll let you guys know when it's finished. So it hasn't died yet, this is just part one. The second part doesn't normally take as long as part one. Just something to note, I went through a bit of pain with BIMTOOL, and it's common sense when you think about it, but if you are using BIMTOOL through OBD to do an ISTA-P CAS downgrade, make sure you have a brilliant power supply. I'm using one of the Dell server rack power supplies. It'll pump out 140 amps at about 12 volts, and I'm running it at about 13.9, so we've got a lot of leeway with this car. And it's still going. And I found that when I was using smaller power supplies, even a 15 amp power supply, sometimes I would have issues where BIMTOOL would just stop. And it wouldn't say why it stopped. It wouldn't say voltage issue. It just, the flash would fail. So just keep that in mind. You do need a decent power supply if you're doing this CAS update downgrade. I was just touching it as well. A few people have commented saying that it actually uses just old CAS firmware. But I've noticed that when you do this, it keeps a current CAS ID or CAS firmware ID. So if it is older CAS firmware software, I'm getting tongue-tied, it is definitely a modified version of the older CAS software. It's not just the same version that you could potentially put on with WinKFP in expert mode, I think. Anyway, we'll let it go through. And just to clarify as well, you can't write, or you shouldn't write to a CAS when the ignition is on. Caught me out a few times as well. Luckily, BIMTOOL now picks up on that error, which is what the error was when I first started filming. Yeah, always make sure that the CAS is awake, but the key is out. The reason for that is I think that the car will basically interrupt a flash if it sends any crucial data. So if it does an ISN check at any point when you're trying to flash, the flash will fail. We're getting close. 89%. This is exciting stuff. It's got to check the signature, and then we'll be able to do the ISN change, I hope. So even though we're in the key coding section, that's just how BIMTOOL downgrades the software on the CAS module. Come on, check your signature. Be correct. Oof, oof. Hey, the car just woke up. The flash is successful. All right, put the key into the ignition switch. So I don't know why I asked you to do this, because I'm pretty sure. And switch on. We are switched on. And it should now pump out all the information. Authenticating, start security login. Now I wonder if it's going to have a heart attack because the DDE is faulty. Oh, I just showed an error. The error was because the ECU is faulty, so the dealer key must be taken away. Press OK. Again, that's got something to do with reading parts of the CAS when the key is in. Disable security error. Well, it failed. What I might do is try it again. I'm not going to film it though. Hey, I just did it again and it read, it's got all the data. Okay, so, oh, the ELV just clicked. We may lead into other issues, but we can see that we have keys here. Now, interestingly, this car did come with a key, which is in here, I think. It's wedged in there under some lip balm. But this doesn't work, but that might be why. It says it's disabled. I've got a brand new key here. What I might do is not worry about this for now. Let's worry about the engine. Okay, so let's go back to Exchange ECU and CAS. And we have a CAS 3 Plus, ISTA-P, OBD, read module information, read ECU ISN. Yeah, see if it reads. I've got a feeling it takes a little bit of time to do this. Reading data failed. It might be because it was asleep. Let's try again. I really should read these screens instead of just clicking away. The CAS may have gone to sleep previously. We still have that engine start fault. If you have working key, then you can get CAS ISN from working key. If all keys lost, then BIMTOOL will fill in UI key. We have a working key. Input original key to BMW tool programmer and press OK. So we'll put that down in the tool. That is the original ISN, which I'm going to copy. Now we want to change the CAS ISN to the ECU ISN. So we're going to paste the ECU. It is now there, and then we're going to update module. See what it does. Again, nerve-wracking stuff here. Okay, key is away. That is BIMTOOL at its greatest. You mother truckers. BIMTOOL is amazing. So it's told me nothing. I did some reading, didn't find anything useful. I turned the car off, let it all power down, turned it on again. And now it says it worked. It says it wrote the data. So the car should start now. I'm not confident. Oh, sorry. Definitely not confident. All right, let's read the ECU ISN again. So the one that we want should end in CB. I'll play with it. I'll let you know if I work it out. Well, it's been quite some time. In fact, it's nearly getting dark outside, and I've not had a lot of luck. In fact, I may have made it worse. I don't know. What a great re-entry into my DIY breaking it videos. But hey, maybe we'll figure out a way to make it work. I don't know. But it's definitely not working at the moment. The car does not start. It always comes up with... Oh, better put key in. It always comes up with that error, engine start fault, and it will not start. Now, doing some reading, I found a few people that had to resync the CAS and the DME in ISTA or IMPA to get rid of that fault. Tried that, didn't work. BIMTOOL has a function in the CAS information to read the CAS and DME code. It'll read that fine, and then it says sync DME and CAS. It will not sync the DME and the CAS. It always throws an error. But BIMTool's really good at throwing errors and not telling you why it's thrown an error. Bit annoying. I went through and I updated the DME with WinKFP, and I updated the CAS. Actually, I did the CAS first. So I put the fresh, latest software from WinKFP onto the CAS. Still no start. Updated the DME, just in case the donor car that it come from had some weird software on it. Still no start. Got back into BIMTool, and then I tried the ISTA CAS DME sync errors again. No luck. I then was starting to doubt myself, and I was wondering if it wasn't starting because the DME VIN number was incorrect. And if we go to EDC 17, read module information. Now I've put it back, but here BIMTool says don't support write ISN and VIN via OBD. And I was like, oh God, well, we'll just try it because it's got a button to do it. So I clicked update module, and then it updated it to this car's VIN number. So then when I would read the VIN from the DDE, it would actually show this car's VIN. Maybe that would work. Car wouldn't start. Bam. However, since I clicked on update module to update the VIN, now when I read the ECU, what the hell? I have been for hours trying to read this, and it would come up with all zeros. Read ECU ISN blank. Oh my God, BIMTool is amazing. We still got that error. It still won't start. So we've got some sort of errors. I don't know. If anybody's got any ideas, let me know. I've done a few MSD80 and MSD81 swaps. I've documented it on the channel. You put that ISN into the CAS module and they start straight up. But this one, for some reason, always shows that fault. So, very bizarre. I don't know. I have a fail at this point. If anybody has any ideas on what I can do to make this thing start, please let me know. I will flash up the errors that are current in ISTA. This car has had LIN bus or BSD bus issues the whole time I've had it, which is what I thought was causing the charging problem at some point. And it may just be the oil level sensor. However, this car does have a manual dipstick. Bit of a weird one. The person who owned this previously did say they had an issue where it would just turn off randomly. Turns out it was just voltage. But they told me that BMW dealership caused it. But she couldn't give me any information on it. But she said it was fixed. Turns out it wasn't. Maybe that's why they sold it cheap. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a bit of a loss. I need to say a huge thank you to Ben Lawson from Ben's Beamer Services. I'm going to put a link to his Facebook down below. He is a CGDI fanboy. They're like BIMTool's competitor. And he's been talking me through this process. He's done a few of these DMEs, apparently. Again, not had this issue. Thank you very much for your help. He's probably been over an hour messaging me backwards and forwards. Again, link to his Facebook down below. But yeah, if anybody has got any ideas, because both myself and Ben are at a bit of a loss, there is a possibility that this DDE, which has come from a wrecker, is also faulty. If I don't have any good suggestions from you guys, I will also open this one up and just check for water damage. It's always a possibility. Basically, the car is doing what it was doing with my water-filled DDE. Oh my God, what are we getting ourselves into here? But yeah, I really want to get it fixed. I need to get it fixed because this car, I've ordered parts for it. I've got some bits coming. It's going to get pimped out pretty soon. Yeah, guys, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support, and a massive thank you to the 0 to 60 Buy Me a Coffee guys. That's where Ben Lawson's from. He's in the 0 to 60 G chat. Guys, thank you all very much. What a welcome back to 0 to 60 fail. I wasn't expecting to fail so quickly. But hey, this is the reality of cars. They don't always fix when you want them to fix. Sometimes they waste 4 days of your life. So here we go. Thank you all. Peace.